She's down under, but she's on top of the world, and she won't stop. Flying free, no looking back, turning every crack into a map. Hello, beautiful. Welcome to another episode of Likha Love. This time, I am actually videoing. This makes me so nervous because that means I can't mess up. Anyway, okay. So, this makes me so nervous, but I know that I have to do this. This is a calling from God, and I say yes. I say yes, God. Whatever it is that you want me to do, I am going to do it. It doesn't matter how scared I am. It doesn't matter if I'm doing it shaking. I'm going to do it because that is the only way that I am going to have the life of my dreams, is by saying yes to God's calling, staying aligned with His calling instead of doubting myself, instead of questioning myself, instead of staying comfortable. I'm going to do what is uncomfortable if it is God's calling. Anywho, I have had such an incredible year. I cannot believe that it is already December. Yee! Like, time has flown. It has flown so fast. And when I started this podcast, I originally, wanted to do it last year, and I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know if I should be doing it with someone. But here I am. I am following God's call to speak, to talk, to share my thoughts, to share my experiences, just to show the world, you know, my life lessons. And whether you want to hear it or not, I'm going to share. So you can easily sign off now and not listen to me, or you can continue to listen and hear how God has transformed my life. 2 years ago, I had just moved back to Australia. Scared. Scared of the unknown. I was 34 weeks pregnant. 34 weeks pregnant. My mother, offered me a ticket. She said, "This is your last chance. You coming or not? You coming or what?" And I remember, it's like, how you know something is the right thing, but there's doubts. There's so many things, earthly things that you think of. The limited mindset that you have kind of keeps you, doubting yourself, doubting what God is calling you. And he keeps, like, I just remember I kept begging God, "God, please give me a sign. God, give me a sign. Show me if this is the right thing." You know, I have been away from my family. I have been living in the USA for almost 17 years. I've been wanting to go back home, but I just didn't think that it was an option anymore. But this was it. This was God's call. Stop hurting. Child, stop suffering. Child, come home. Stop suffering and come home. And I'm so glad that I did it. I did the right thing and I hopped on that airplane. And it's so funny because every day I'm like, "God, give me a sign." I literally, from the time I said yes to my parents, I remember calling them crying, like, I have no choice. I have to. It's the best decision. Like, I need to do what's best for me. My mental health was so bad. I couldn't keep working anymore. I was working 6, 7 days a week just to survive because my partner wasn't making any money and I was the only one making money, and I just couldn't keep doing it. I needed to rest. I needed to prepare for this baby. And I needed to make sure I was able to give birth and be able to rest and recover and raise this child without worrying about having to go to work to make money to pay basic necessities. I couldn't live that life anymore where I'm in survival mode, and especially with a child, with a new child. I was pregnant and my mental health was so bad, and that the night that I was crying hysterically and just didn't know if I wanted to continue this life anymore, I knew that was the time, like, okay, I better call my mom and tell her, yeah, I'm coming, because I can't keep living like this. That's not good for your pregnancy. It's not good for the baby. The baby feels everything that you're feeling. And I was a hot mess express. And the signs, I kept asking God, give me a sign. And there were so many signs, so many signs. Like, God's probably like, girl, how many times a day do I need to show you? You need to come home. I wasn't being treated right. I was working my butt off. I was like working in between two jobs, working in between. Like, I had to plan, and I got up at this time. I worked this shift, and I went home and napped for an hour, ate something real quick, and went to my next shift. And it was just like so exhausting. That was one of the signs your partner's not right for you. You're working your butt off, and you're really, really pregnant. Third, how many people God has sent me my way telling me to go home. There was one particular person, because I had just lost my job. I was taking a break from photography. I was a burnt out photographer. I had a photographer for over I was a photographer for over a decade, but I was burnt out. I just didn't want to do it anymore. It was exhausting. So I got another job as an event planner, director, wedding director, wedding florist. I did it all under one venue, an all-inclusive venue. I worked with my partner there. I got him a job there, and he got us fired while I was pregnant, very pregnant. So when that happened, at the time, I was very calm, because I'm like, things don't happen for nothing. Like, I know God has a plan for everything, and it was part of his plan to send me home. If I still had that job, I wouldn't have left, because I knew I still had that security of a good paying job. So when that happened, I end up uh, picking up on photography when I could. I ended up going back to my waitress job that I had since the first time I worked over there in the United States. My boss, the owner of the restaurant, barbecue restaurant, always gave me a shift whenever I wanted, in between all the jobs that I've had. If I needed just some extra cash, he was just so wonderful to give me shifts. And so I did that whilst pregnant, and it was exhausting. But during that time, when I was asking God for a sign to show me, if I should leave or not, because when you haven't learned to trust your intuition, and you're still doubting yourself and doubting these nudges, because you don't, I didn't really know anything about intuition or gut feelings. Like, I was never taught anything about trusting your intuition. So I had God send me this this customer that would come in at the restaurant and would talk about how wonderful it would be for me, and that my parents for my parents to be able to experience their grandchildren, how a great thing that is. And altogether, every time he came in, he would talk about how it's a better decision. Um, and it's so funny because I was questioning God, questioning the decision, even after I had packed my bags. I had um I had put my stuff into storage, and I had my ticket. I was ready to go. The night before I had to leave, I was still questioning, right? And there's this uh, Asian Chinese restaurant in little small town Coleman, Alabama, called Rice and Soy that was my favorite, the only one I would go to. And I went there the night before. I was like, it's our last meal. The craziest thing, the same guy that would come into the restaurant that I would talk to, I he ended up being in the same parking lot. He was using the laundry place that was, pretty much right next door to Rice and Soy. And I remember seeing him, and we said hi to each other, and he told me how he's so proud of me and that it's the right decision. And honestly, like, it was what I needed to hear because I was still questioning myself at that point. And I was ready to say, sorry, mom, sorry, dad. Maybe you can get a refund on the ticket. I'm not coming. I can't. Like, I was still together with my partner at the time. And, even though I should have ended it a long time ago, like, I was still holding on to the idea that maybe it will work out because he's the father of my child. Anyway, despite that relationship, despite, everything, because I had to leave my daughter behind, my eldest daughter, who was 9 at the time. It was such a hard decision. Like, I don't think anyone realizes how difficult of a decision that is, to leave your first child in another country because you have to give birth to your second child in another country where there's free healthcare and support that I need. I knew I had to do it, and it was just a temporary. It was a temporary stay. The goal was to have the baby and stay temporarily until, I'm okay, and then go back and be reunited with my daughter. That was the plan, even though, in the grand scheme of things, like, it really wasn't practical. Like, the way things are now, the fact that my daughter, my 11-year-old, is now here with me full time, and we're homeschooling, and she's in the process of getting her citizenship. Like, it's just so amazing how everything has worked out, and all it took was for me to jump on that plane, despite the fear of the unknown, despite the sadness of leaving behind a life that I thought was for me. I thought I was supposed to have a life with this person and start a family with this person, even though this person was not who he said he was. He literally catfished me, and I kept forgiving him and forgiving him after every lie that I found out. I kept forgiving him. I was forgiving the man that catfished me and tricked me into having this baby with him that he has nothing to do with right now. And I tried. I promise you, I tried to make it work. But now I see the bigger picture. That was not my soulmate. That was not the person for me. And whoever the person is who is for me, he's out there somewhere. And he's going to love me properly, and he's going to love my children properly, and he's going to love God. And you know with my whole life in America, I just kept making one mistake after another with the relationships that I was in, because I was so desperate for a relationship. Like, I was just so afraid of being alone. When I left my first marriage, it was just like every small thing someone will do for me, that is the absolute bare minimum. Like, it's not even like anything grandiose that they did for me. It's just like opening the door for me. I'm like, what? I've never had that done before. Like, little things like that made me feel so special, even though it was the absolute bare minimum. Now, looking back, I'm like, you're gonna do more than just opening the door for me. You're gonna make sure that I feel safe. You're gonna make sure that you notice when I'm not feeling good, and that you do something about it, like ask me how I am and try to make me happy. You're not just gonna ignore me and go on about your day like we're just roommates. I want someone who has the same morals as me. I downgraded so much and just accepted people in hopes that they would change when they were not for me. I was just interested in them because I just didn't want to be alone, and the little things that they did that my first partner never did for me, I thought it was just, amazing, and that was love. But no, nah, that wasn't love. That was a way for them to get my attention. That was their hook. They knew I was vulnerable. They knew how desperate I was to have a home and to have a partner, because that's what I showed. I showed them my desperation by giving them all this attention. I didn't have them chase me. I felt like I was the one chasing them. And that's the problem. You can you can have any partner if you're just looking for one. But if you want the right one, now that's a different story. And that is something that I have and I am still learning. I know now that when I was in those relationships, it wasn't because they were special. No, I made them special. I was looking at them, seeing the potential that they had, and knowing who I am. I can change them. I can make them better people. I can love them into this person that I know they can be. But the problem with that is their potential is not real. Their potential is my projection of what I would do if they were with me. Because I knew who excuse me. I knew that I could love them with all my heart, flaws and all. I loved them with everything, forgave them for everything, forgave them for being mistreated, and I kept thinking that despite the mistreatment, that I'm gonna keep doing everything I can to show them that, like, my love is genuine and that I deserve their love, instead of it being the other way around, like, you need to work harder to impress me. I know my love is genuine, and I'm not just gonna give it away for free. Now I know. Now I know that. Back then, my self-worth was zero, and I had no self-love. And I really, that is the biggest lesson that I have learned through all this. All my relation, all my relationships was to wake me up and show me that, hey, you don't need them. Actually, you don't need anybody. You need to love yourself. You need to love yourself first. Like, girl, you are everything that you need. Girl, God loves you so much. You are so deserving of love. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to look for it. Like, you are already loved. One thing Having children has taught me, especially the little one, because I was, I've been single with her, and just being able to raise her and not have to worry about a partner, not having to worry about trying to make another person happy. I saw that this child is so pure. This child deserves all the love in the world. This child doesn't have to earn it. This child is so loved by me, by my family, by God. And all she had to do was exist. And we just loved her so unconditionally. And it reminded me, hey, I used to be a baby. Um, yeah, I deserve to be loved unconditionally. I don't have to earn it. I just have to exist. I am loved by God. No matter how many mistakes I make, no matter how much, I steer away from God's plan, I am always loved. Always. And I am a child of God. I am a fractal of God. And I have to love myself because I am a child of God. God loves me, and why don't I love me? If my God loves me, why don't I love me? And that really hit me like, why wasn't I taught self love? Doesn't the Bible say love others like you love yourself? But yet, the church doesn't teach us to love ourselves. We're taught to love God, love others next, and love ourselves last. Why, though? How can we love God and love others if we don't love ourselves first? Like, how can we love others from an empty cup, right? If you're not filling yourself with love, filling yourself with self love, filling yourself with kindness, filling yourself with care, how can we give that out? How can we give others what we don't have? Anyway, that just made so much sense to me. Like, it hit me. Like, I thought I kind of knew when I was learning about self love the last few years. I thought I kind of understood it, but it really hit me when I had my recent my recent child. Like, I really didn't love myself. And that is why I was seeking for love and approval outside of me instead of giving that love and approval to myself. I am worthy. I am a child of God. I am born of royal blood. I am a fractal of God. I am made in his image. And the Bible clearly says that. I got Bible verses. You know, um, for some reason, I don't know why, when I was growing up, why this never clicked to me. I know it wasn't taught to me. You're taught to love others and love God, but it like the idea of loving yourself is like selfish for some reason when it should be like priority. That is one thing that I teach my children is that you have to love yourself first. You have to care for yourself. If you don't love yourself and you don't care for yourself here on earth, like, who will? I mean, God does. He always will. But it is your job to care for yourself. It is your job to take care of this vessel that God lives in. God is within us. We are not separate from God. We are an expression of God. God exists in us. We are his vessel. This is the temple of God. He lives within us. So why would we not take care and love this vessel that God entrusted us with? We are made in the image of God. What does that mean? We are made in the image of God. That means we're born already whole. We were born already perfect. We were born already lovable. Yet we weren't taught that. We are taught that we are not perfect. We are taught that we have to earn the love. And if you don't follow the rules, you're gonna get sent to hell. Mm-mm, I don't believe it. The moment that I realized that loving God, a true loving God, will not send their child to hell, no matter how many mistakes they make, I knew. I knew hell wasn't real. This external place that the church has taught you to fear. Mm-mm. A loving God would not send me to hell for making a little mistake, knowing that I will make mistakes. He's not going to send me to hell. And that really changed my life when I realized that. I think about my children, like, it doesn't matter how many mistakes they make, I would never punish them to that severity. I love them too much. I love them so much that I am going to forgive them over and over and over again, like I forgave my exes. Anyways, so Bible verses. Genesis 5:1. When God created mankind, he made them in the likeness of God. Genesis 2:7. Then the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. We carry God's breath. Job 33:4. The Spirit of God has made me, the breath of the Almighty gives me life. Acts 17:28. For in him we live and move and have our being. John 17:21. That all of them may be one, Father, just as you are in me and I am in you. We are one with God. He lives within us. He's not outside of us. He's right here. The whole time that you're seeking for God outside of you, when he's in here the whole time, when I was looking for God in church, looking for God in people, looking for God in nature, when the whole time he's in me, he's inside me. Romans 8:16-17. The Spirit himself testifies that we are God's children. Now, if we are children, then we are heirs. I'm a child of God. I'm a child of God. What does that mean? I'm a royal blood. I am a part of him. He is a part of me. That's special. So the Bible teaches that we are children of God. He breathed life. He breathed life into us. He breathed life into us. His Spirit dwells in us. So we're not just some random, I don't know, not just a random happening. We didn't just show up on earth for no reason. We were made on purpose. We have a purpose on this earth. We are called to reflect his light. And this is me. This is me saying, yes, God, I'm going to reflect your light. I'm going to tell everybody my truth. And my truth is that I am a child of God. I am divine. And I am taking back my innocence. I was born already whole. I was born loved. I didn't have to earn it. I didn't have to be someone. I didn't have to prove my worth of love. I am love. I am a fractal of God, and God is love, and so I am love. I just think about the course of my life. If I had just loved myself, how different things would be. But I think that is what makes me who I am today, is seeing that side of the shadow, my shadows, who I am before self-love, and who I am now when I realize that I'm supposed to love myself. I saw all these bad decisions that I made. I see all the bad decisions that I made that shaped who I am today. And honestly, if it wasn't for these experiences, I really wouldn't truly know and grasp and understand all these lessons with head knowledge. You know, having head knowledge is different from having an experience. Like going to a place that you've always wanted to go to. You can learn all about that place, but to actually be there and experience it, feel the air, breathe in the air, the smells of the location, the touching, you know, the environment, you know, learning the culture, tasting the food, seeing it in person and experiencing it is different from just learning about it and knowing it. And that's why, you know, my biggest goal in life for my children is to travel. I want them to not just have head knowledge of life and cultures and, you know, in their little school desk. I want them to experience it, to know what they're talking about, to know what they've learned, to really know. Before I got married, I was that I tried to be that perfect preacher's daughter, tried to do everything right. You know, I was going to marry a man just like my dad, who's a pastor, and I'm going to serve God. I'm going to be this Christian wife that does everything right, that everybody's going to love. And when that didn't work out, that really wrecked me for a while. But now that I'm out of it, it has changed me. It really has, because before all these experiences that I had, I was quite judgmental, which is a big thing that Christians are known for, is that they're just so judgmental. Like, you know, the feeling of, oh yeah, I'm better than so and so because I don't do drugs, and I don't, you know, I read my Bible every day, I pray every day, like that makes you perfect. Come on. I learned that sometimes you make bad decisions, And when you don't know much of anything and you're just making one bad decision after another, surrounding yourself with people who are encouraging you to make more bad decisions, you kind of get stuck in that loop, stuck in that cycle of making more poor choices. But that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. That just means that you need help. And sometimes, it might take a lot of bad experiences before, you realize, okay, what I'm doing is not working. Obviously, it's not working. I need to change something, right? No amount of loving someone who has zero understanding of what true love is going to change them into loving you better. And that's what I had to learn, being with narcissistic personalities. There is no amount of love, no amount of forgiveness that is going to make them change for you. The only way things will get better when you're in situations like that is that you change. You love yourself so much that you are not going to put yourself through that. If I had loved myself, I would not have put myself through all the heartache and pain that I put myself through trying to create a life with people who don't know how to love me, with people that I don't align with, people that don't have the same morals as me. And what ended up happening is, instead of me influencing them like I was trying so hard, they influenced me because I was trying so hard to please them. Because I had a people pleasing problem, they end up influencing me. And I end up making one bad decision after one bad decision after one bad decision because I was just trying so hard for them to love me. Anyway, I really hope that this helps someone out there to maybe see that they don't love themselves. Maybe it's time for you to realize, and it's time for you to see that you need to make a change. Maybe God's talking to you and you're just ignoring him. You're ignoring God's call to get back in alignment with him. Ever since I hopped on that plane and said yes to God, my life has been so much better. I lost all the weight of the world that was on my shoulders. I not only lost the physical weight that I was carrying, but the mental weight that I was carrying. In the last 2 years, I have really taken advantage of this time of rest to also learn or relearn everything. I decided that I'm going to seek God on my own. Like, I'm not just going to listen to what other people tell me. Like, I'm going to seek God on my own, like truly seek him on my own. And one of the things that really changed my life is learning how to meditate, learning how to be in the stillness, in the quietness, and listen to God. My life was always filled with so much noise, you know, people's opinion, what has been ingrained in me, what has been programmed in me by society, by school, by church. Like, I had to unlearn all that and seek what I believe is the truth. I'm so grateful for the huge change that I made in my life just by simply taking the leap of faith. That really, after, and you don't know what's on the other side of that leap of faith, but know this: it's always going to be better than what you currently have if you know it is a nudge from God. If it is a calling from God, God is telling you, jump. I got you. Jump. Jump into his arms. Let him carry you through. I promise you, that's when things really will start. Just trusting God is going to change your life like it changed mine for the better. Literally, like, look at me. I'm living in Sydney, Australia with my girls. I can't believe it's actually real. I have longed to come back. It was never my desire to live in the USA. It was supposed to be temporary. My husband had promised me that we were going to come back after he finished uni. And it didn't happen. But if I would have just listened to God in the beginning, things would have worked out. But hey, I'm here. I'm here to tell the tale of how I lived through all those years of not being in alignment with God. I've alchemized every bad thing that has happened to me, and I have turned it into good, into lessons, and it has shaped who I am today. Life is good. Life is so good when you are in alignment with God. Life is so good. I feel like I've kind of been all over. Like, I don't know if what I've said has like really made sense, or if I was all over the place, because I'm also filming myself, which is new, and I'm talking to myself at the camera. Eventually, I will get used to it, and I will, you know. Anyway, this is me having a leap of faith that I need to do this with my words jumbling out of my mouth until I get comfortable in front of the camera. I'm going to keep doing what God asked me to do. I truly hope this has helped somebody. And I'm going to continue to share parts of my life in hopes that I can change another person's life. So thank you for those who are listening to me and watching me and supporting me. My journey is just starting. It's just starting. And it's so exciting. I'm so excited for 2026. 2024 and 2025 has been such an incredible last 2 years here in Sydney. I'm just so excited for what God has planned for me for next year. I know it's going to be amazing, and you guys are going to be able to watch me grow into an even better person in real time. How flippin' exciting! Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day. Just remember that God loves you. And I love you too. Bye.